from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 11.
And breaking right now at 11, Channel 9 is now projecting North Carolina, a key battleground state in the presidential election, has been won by Donald Trump. Here's where the numbers stand right now. You see Trump with 51% of the vote, Hillary Clinton 46%. That is with 95% of the vote in tonight. The overall race for president, though, is still too close to call tonight. I'm Scott Wickersham.
And I'm Erica Bryant. We are joined by a team of reporters across North Carolina tonight, all breaking down these major developments, first in the presidential race and again in all the races across the Carolinas as well. Here is where the popular vote stands right now for president across the country. When you look at these numbers, Republican nominee Donald Trump is up with 49% of the vote, and Hillary Clinton has 46% of the vote. This with just over half of precincts reporting at 55% of precincts reporting.
Eyewitness News anchor Allison Lottis is in our election results center monitoring the latest in this historic presidential race. Allison.
Well, Scott and Erica, this has been a wild night, and for North Carolina, the presidential race has been called for Donald Trump, but there are other states too close to call. First, let's take you live to New York City. These are live pictures inside the Trump campaign. Sources say Trump is with his team watching the results at the campaign headquarters. North Carolina was called a must-win for Trump, so obviously they are celebrating inside there tonight. Now these are live pictures inside the Clinton campaign in New York City, where you can see it is a very crowded room. We want to show you a map, taking a closer look at the country, because this is a big decider. Donald Trump is in the lead right now with 212 electoral votes to Clinton's 131, based on ABC projections. Remember, 270 electoral votes are needed to win the election. But this all comes down to those swing states, including North Carolina, which we just told you was declared for Trump. Trump's taking the battleground states of Florida, North Carolina, as well as Ohio. Clinton winning the key states of Colorado and Virginia.
The national polls and the polls in many of these competitive states had Clinton up by small margins. So the battle, of course, is of turnout. So clearly Trump supporters turned out at higher levels than the pollsters were projecting.
Now, this is by no means a done deal. Florida, Ohio, North Carolina may be called, but the night is not over until all 270 electoral votes are won.
Thank you, Allison. And now, next to who will lead the state of North Carolina. The governor's race has been going back and forth in the numbers all night long.
We've got the latest numbers for you right now. You see Governor Pat McCrory has now 50% of the vote that's come in. Challenger Roy Cooper, the Democrat, at 48%. That is with 95% of the vote in so far tonight. Eyewitness News reporter Jim Bradley is in Raleigh with Governor Pat McCrory's camp. Jim?
And a lot of excitement here right now. And in fact, the McCrory camp is hoping very much that Donald Trump's coattails will be able to pull him into victory as well here. A huge crowd and a huge cheer went up a short time ago when North Carolina was called for Donald Trump, because that has coincided with Governor Pat McCrory clawing his way back from an evening that started with him down and now has him up over a 1 percentage point lead over Roy Cooper. Now, we expected this race for governor to be very close, and it is just that, but there's a real feeling in this room, at least right now, that Pat McCrory can win tonight, despite being down in most polls heading into here. He holds just about a 60,000 vote lead, but there are still votes out in Charlotte and Wilmington and the Durham areas, and those could still make a difference. I spoke with House Speaker Tim Moore, the Republican leader, just a short moment ago, and he says he feels very good about things, even though right now North Carolina remains too close to call for the governor's race. There is a lot of excitement in this room right now. Live in Raleigh, I'm Jim Bradley, Channel 9 News.
All right, Jim, thank you. Now let's go to reporter Mark Becker. He's in Raleigh with McCrory's challenger, Attorney General Roy Cooper. Mark, what's the mood like there?
Well, Scott, nobody giving up here yet, but also they're looking for something to grasp onto. They flashed some national numbers here in the presidential race. That got a big cheer, but we really haven't seen anything or heard much about the gubernatorial race here. It has been very close all night and getting closer. And now, as we've seen Governor McCrory edge ahead, certainly the mood here getting a little more somber. They were cheering earlier in the evening as Cooper was ahead by 4 or 5 percentage points, but of course the trend has gone the opposite direction, even though Cooper has been running stronger than other Democratic headliners, and the reason for that may well be HB2, still a huge issue in the state of North Carolina. A little while ago I spoke with a representative State Representative Chris Groh, who's also a member of Equality North Carolina, about that issue.
I believe Roy Cooper is going to win tonight. I believe that HB2 is a big part of that. Regardless of the outcome of the election, though, HB2 is wildly unpopular in this state, and it has been a big driving force against Pat McCrory.
Well, we will see how that driving force ends up. A lot of very somber folks here waiting for the final numbers. We have not seen Roy Cooper. We do not have any projected time as to when he will be here. He will clearly wait until the numbers are final, at least he feels they're final, before addressing anyone here. Reporting live in Raleigh, Mark Becker, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Mark, thank you. Now, Richard Burr was just declared the winner in the U.S. Senate race here in North Carolina.
Want to show you a look at the numbers right now. Burr won with 52% of the vote against Deborah Ross, who came in at 45%. Again, with 95% of precincts reporting, Burr has been declared the winner, and we heard his winning speech earlier tonight.
Eyewitness News reporter Blake Hansen is in Winston-Salem with Burr's supporters. Blake?
Yeah, and this is Senator Burr's third run for that Senate seat, but he summed it up best when he took the stage and said, this feels better than all of the rest, and because this race was different than all of the rest. Senator Thom Tillis, his colleague, introduced Senator Burr tonight on the stage, announcing that he would remain the junior senator from the state of North Carolina. And there were two main points that Senator Burr touched on in his victory speech, one of which was this is really his last hurrah. He has said that he will not run for political office again, and he was so relieved not only that this ended in a victory, but also that this is his last run and he does not have to go through this again. But he also talked about something very serious, which is the divisiveness of this election, specifically his campaign and with his opponent Deborah Ross. He made references about the campaign ads and jokes about some of the campaign ads that went back and forth in this election. He also just talked about the need to bring people together afterwards in what has been a tough election nationwide. Take a listen to some of his speech.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart for this victory, which will be the capstone of my public service. This victory is as much yours as it is mine. Thank each and every one of you for being here. God bless this country.
And Senator Burr talked about really not knowing who exactly he's going to be working with in Washington this time around, but needing to cross the bridge and cross the aisle and bring more unity to the country. Putting live from Winston-Salem, Blake Hansen, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
You, Blake. And of course, this Senate race, one of many that could have a large impact of the party majority in the Senate. With enough wins tonight, the Democrats could take control of the current Republican-held Senate. Right now, Republicans with 46 seats, Democrats with 42. And so there are several key races still up for grabs across the country. We will continue to watch it.
Eyewitness News reporter Brittany Johnson is live tonight in Raleigh with Deborah Ross's campaign, where she conceded a short time ago. Brittany?
That's right, and at first this crowd booed when the screens showed the results projecting Richard Burr as the winner of this race, but within the last 10 minutes, Deborah Ross took the stage and she borrowed a line from President Obama and said, "Don't boo, vote." She also said this is certainly not the outcome she was hoping for. Throughout the evening, we talked to her campaign staffers. They told us they were confident that she could win because she'd made such gains in the polls. Some polls even had Burr and Ross neck and neck at some points. She outraised and outspent her opponent, and she also worked to cast Burr as an establishment candidate, but it wasn't enough. Tonight she told the crowd that she is still very proud of all of their hard work.
I want to thank you for all the time and effort that you've put into this election. It's been an election of a lifetime. Serious, serious issues have been put out there, and you've worked very, very hard.
Ross went on to say this is not the end. She, of course, congratulated Richard Burr, but she also encouraged this crowd to keep fighting for the issues that they all feel are important, including equality and more higher wages for workers. Live in Raleigh, Brittany Johnson, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Brittany. And in certain North Carolina counties tonight, the voting hours were extended.
Eyewitness News reporter Elsa Gillis listened in as the State Board of Elections made that call. Elsa.
Yeah, some voters had to deal with a 2-hour delay at one polling location in Durham County. Because of that and other delays statewide, the State Board of Elections called an emergency meeting tonight. Durham County had various issues at 8 precincts across the county. Their County Board of Elections requested a 90-minute extension to voting hours at those 8 locations, including the one with the 2-hour delay. Instead, the State Board approved a 20 to 60-minute extension max at those precincts, depending on the extent of their delays. Columbus County also experienced delays at one precinct. The State Board of Elections extended their voting time for 30 minutes. We spoke with voters who were forced to come back more than once to cast their ballot.
It almost made me wonder if somebody was sabotaging something, but so yeah. But it was very frustrating to have to come 3 times to try to vote.
Now, not all voters could wait out those delays. Some had to leave without casting their ballot. It's unclear if they were able to come back. Reporting live from the Mecklenburg County Board of Elections office, Elsa Gillis, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Elsa. And now the County Board of Elections had told us that this polling place in University City, where you're seeing this video now, still had people waiting in line within the past hour because many voters were not actually registered to vote at this location. It is an early voting site, and some people confused it as their standard polling location when it was not, in fact, where they were supposed to head tonight. And other votes with us tonight, the Congresswoman Alma Adams won District 12, U.S. District 12 tonight, so she won with 67% of the vote.
Yeah, Leon Threet there had 33%, so an easy victory for Alma Adams with 84% of the precincts reporting. Alexa Ashwell is live at the Oak Room where Adams' campaign is celebrating right now. Alexa?
Yes, Scott, Erica, and still a small group of supporters here celebrating at Alma Adams' victory party as she addressed the crowd at this podium probably about an hour after she was declared the winner over Pastor Leon Threet. Her race, one of the first to be called in North Carolina. In fact, just 30 minutes after the polls closed, Alma thanked her supporters. Then she quickly transitioned, saying there is much to be done, calling 2016 the year of significant change, with all eyes often on Charlotte. As for that, Alma says she will be back in Washington Monday. Reporting live in South End, Alexa Ashwell, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Alexa, thank you. And again, that breaking news, Channel 9 now projecting North Carolina, a key battleground state in the presidential election, has been won by Donald Trump. Here's the latest numbers right now. 51% of North Carolina votes going for Trump, 46% to Hillary Clinton. We'll be right back.
We are continuing to monitor the presidential race for you as the results continue to come in. Looking across the country right now in the U.S. race for president, Donald Trump has 49% of the vote. Hillary Clinton at 47% right now, with 59% of precincts reporting across the country. And in North Carolina, WSOC has called the race for president for Donald Trump. Donald Trump taking North Carolina with 51% of the vote to Hillary Clinton's 46%.
Now we're looking at a Donald Trump campaign headquarters in New York City tonight, where folks are getting very excited. Donald Trump taking some states he really needs if he wants to get to those 207 electoral votes, North Carolina included in that. Now, Wall Street futures are plummeting as election results are coming in, with Trump performing better than expected.
Right now, Dow futures right now are down nearly 700 points at this hour. NASDAQ right now, the futures down 221 points. World markets are also dropping, and the Mexican peso has fallen 10% against the U.S. dollar. Channel 9 will continue to monitor the stock futures and the markets all night long and also throughout the day tomorrow, so keep it here. Now we look at Mecklenburg County, zeroing in on the Mecklenburg County race for commissioner at large. The top 3 vote getters win here, and that includes Patricia Cotham with 29%, Trevor Fuller coming in at 25%, tied with Ella Scarborough at 25%, 94% of precincts reporting, so those 3 appear to have won this outright.
The voters also chose tonight on 3 bond referendums on the ballot. First off, the neighborhood improvement bond, 78% yes, 22% no. That's with 95% reporting there, so that's going to pass. Let's look at school transportation bonds right now, or rather just transportation bonds. Those pass 77% yes, 23% no, again with almost all the votes in tonight. And then the housing bonds, 70% yes, right now 30% no.
Eyewitness News reporter Joe Bruno has been monitoring those for us from South Park. He's here to break down more of what all those mean. Joe?
With the approval of these bonds, the city of Charlotte is set to see major changes over the next coming years. Voters overwhelmingly backed these 3 bonds worth more than $200 million. City leaders say no tax increases will come from this, but new streets, houses, and bridges will be built with the money from the bond package. There will also be a greenway from Ballantyne to Cabarrus County, And over to the race to the Mecklenburg County Board of Commissioners, we were with Trevor Fuller tonight. All county commissioner candidates are set to be reelected. Fuller says they have a lot they still have to accomplish.
There's a lot to accomplish. So we've got an education plan we got to work on. There's universal pre-K we have to work on in Mecklenburg County. We got to work on getting people jobs in our county. So there's a lot of work to do, and that's the case I took to the voters this year.
And Pat Cotham was the leading vote getter amongst all the county commissioners, just like she was in 2014. Reporting live in South Park, I'm Joe Bruno, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
Thank you, Joe. In Union County, voters went out and they voted on bonds that will impact education.
Let's look at the Union County Community College bonds. That was approved, 59% yes, 41% no. The $40 million bond package would expand the rapidly growing South Piedmont Community College. Money would be used to build a STEM facility, remote classroom space in Waxhaw, and upgrade their current facilities. The cost to taxpayers is about $2 a month for a home valued at $200,000.
The voters also voted on more Union County school bonds. A $54 million bond would be used mostly to expand and renovate 6 schools that are nearing capacity. The last school bond passed in the county was 10 years ago. Since then, the number of students there has grown 35% to nearly 43,000 students.
Let's take a quick break, and as we gather the latest election results, Steve has more on what you'll wake up to tomorrow.
Yes, Scott, you know what? We were hoping for some rainfall. It's been 31 days, 4th longest streak on record, and there are showers just west of the mountains, no more than 150 miles from Charlotte. But as has been the case ever since Matthew went by last month, the rain approaches the mountains. We'll dump some rain and then dry up as it moves into the Charlotte area. So another rain chance pretty much goes by the board. So while you may not need them to step out the door tomorrow, I'd recommend you take the sunglasses on your way out. You'll need them by lunchtime as temperatures quickly climb out of the 40s and 50s as we get that sunshine going. Now, we will see a pretty gusty breeze tomorrow, so it will feel cooler than it probably looks outside and colder than what the thermometer will say. There's that wind blowing at about 20-25 miles an hour in the mountains, a 15 to 20 mile per hour wind even in the Charlotte area. And so in spite of that mild start, and we will see mid-60s by lunchtime, watch what happens late in the afternoon as the cool air spills out of the mountains. Those temperatures start to tumble. So uptown tomorrow, the warmest part of the day, I'd say about noon to 2 o'clock. After that, the temperatures back on their way down as the sun comes back. Up in the high country, scattered showers, but very fall-like. And that's going to continue into the upcoming weekend. 5-day forecast talking about plenty of sun and, unfortunately, plenty of dry weather.
Now here are the latest numbers on the presidential race. Donald Trump taking North Carolina. These are North Carolina results only. 51% to Hillary Clinton, 46%. We'll be right back. Once again, we take a look at the latest numbers in the presidential race tonight. 62% of precincts across America reporting Donald Trump in the lead with 49% of the popular vote. Hillary Clinton right now has 47% of the vote. Here's a live picture of the Donald Trump headquarters, or where he will celebrate if he wins or give a concession if he loses tonight in New York. The crowd here is very excited because Mr. Trump is taking a lot of states that he would have to have a chance to win this evening.
Now we want to switch to live pictures. This inside the Clinton campaign site in New York City, and this is where she will speak if she wins and concede if she loses. Again, another packed house here. We understand the Trump and Clinton campaigns, they are not located too far away from each other there in New York City, so huge crowds for both of those camps there tonight.
Alexander County voters approved several controversial alcohol referendums tonight. The sale of wine, beer, and mixed drinks will be allowed in the county, and ABC stores can be opened up.
The alcohol referendums have been controversial in Alexander County. Vandals actually targeted several churches opposed to the sale of mixed drinks in restaurants and beer and wine in stores. Referendum supporters say that alcohol sales will bring in some much needed tax revenue. We are back now live at 11:26, and this is a look at the national map right now. You see those blue states are for Democrats and the red won by Republican Donald Trump. And this gives you a view across the country of how close this race is tonight. Now to the race for the U.S. House District 9 in North Carolina. Incumbent Robert Pittenger has been declared the winner, and challenger Christian Cano is behind with 42%. So again, Pittenger declared the winner in this race. Eyewitness News anchor Liz Foster is joining us now live from Pittenger's campaign tonight. Liz?
Erica, Congressman Pittenger has gone home and the crowd has dwindled here, but earlier was electric, celebrating victory. Pittenger will soon begin his third term representing North Carolina's 9th district. A challenge for him this election was reaching out to 60% of new voters in the district after the lines were redrawn. The 9th district now includes 8 counties stretching from South Charlotte all the way east to Bladen County. Democrat Christian Cano challenged Pittenger. He'd never run for political office before and admitted his name was relatively unknown. After Pittenger's win, I asked him what his message is to his supporters.
When I get back to Washington, I want them to know that I'm going to fight for a better economy, where we can have better jobs. We need to lower the regulatory burden and lower the tax burden. And I'm going to continue my work to secure this country as chairman of the Congressional Task Force on Terrorism.
Cano sent me a statement that reads, in part, though we are disappointed with the decision, we know our efforts have showed that our neighbors are ready for real leadership. We congratulate Representative Pittenger on a hard-fought race. Live in Monroe, Liz Foster, Channel 9 Eyewitness News. Results still coming in again in the presidential race, and it is very close tonight. Donald Trump, 49% of the vote. Hillary Clinton, 47%. Now 64% reporting results nationwide. We'll be right back.
We're back now live at 11:30 with your complete election coverage, continuing to call the races for you. South Carolina has been called for Donald Trump.
Let's go to reporter Greg Suskin in Rock Hill tonight. He spoke to voters at the polls today. Greg?
And this precinct here in Rock Hill, a good example of how it went for Donald Trump around the state. This precinct hitting 70% voter turnout today. I'm told that is a record. Let's show you some video right now, because earlier in the weeks before the election, several polls seemed to show that the distance between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton was pretty narrow, only about 4 or 5 point lead that many polls said he had. Some expected that was going to mean a much tighter race in this state, but it now appears that not only will Donald Trump win South Carolina by double digits, even though these results are still unofficial, he could win this state by more than his Republican predecessors did in their presidential races years ago. Now, when I talked to voters today who were supporting Trump, they mentioned the word change as the main reason they supported him. They said he was the candidate who was most likely to bring change. Here's what one young woman said about why she voted for Trump.
I think Donald Trump has a good business sense, so if he was able to do all that he's done, then he would be a good president.
Also a successful night for Republicans around South Carolina as U.S. Senator Tim Scott held on to his Senate seat. And just within the last 20 minutes or so, Congressman Mick Mulvaney from this area tweeting out a thank you to his supporters. He held on to his congressional seat tonight as well. We're live in Rock Hill. Greg Suskin, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
One final look here at where the presidential race stands tonight. Donald Trump, 49% of the vote. Hillary Clinton, 47%. 66% of precincts around the country are reporting.
When we zero in on North Carolina has already been declared for Donald Trump as the winner with 51% of the vote. Hillary Clinton at 46%. And again, 99% of precincts reporting in North Carolina. Trump again declared the winner in North Carolina. Channel 9, of course, your source for all election results throughout the night. We'll continue to monitor them as they come in.
We'll be tweeting out those results as they come in and posting them at WSOCTV.com as well. We're going to have another chilly morning, Steve.
Yeah, we are. Not quite as cool as this morning because we'll see more cloud cover, but any rain will likely be across the mountains, not the metro. We're all back to sun by afternoon, and the rest of the week, where we've been for the last month. Plenty of sun. Delightful.
All right. Thanks for making us your choice for news tonight on this election day.
We'll have complete coverage on Eyewitness News Daybreak starting at 4:30 a.m. ABC's election coverage continues next.